everyone, welcome to our channel Knowledge of. Friends, subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon for the latest update. Today we're gonna start with reasoning here. This is your reasoning, that is logic here, and this is the class you have your 156th class, and we had discussed about 155th class of the sessions here. With regard of that, if I'm talking about with the sessions, so we had completed your general mental ability section 1, and where we had started with section 2 of general mental ability, that is your logic reasoning here. With regard of that, in terms of that, if I'm talking about, so we had completed the analogy part, and then we had discussed the classification, that we had done series completion, coding, decoding, blood relation, and then we had done puzzle test, sequential output tracing, and then direction sense test. We had done logical Venn diagram, and then we had done alphabet test, and we have done number ranking time sequence test. Then we had done mathematical operation, and then after that we had done for the mathematical operation, and then we had done related to the logical sequence of words here. And then we have done arithmetic reasoning, inserting the missing character here, then data sufficiency, decision making, and then we had done assertion and reasons here, and then we have just that done about the situation, that is reaction test, and then verification of the truth of the statement here. And then after that, and the section 2 logic reasoning, we had started with logic here. So here in all total we have done, this is the topic that we had discussing, that is logic. This is the 21th topic of the reasoning here. That is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18 19 20 and 21 टॉपिक जो कि लॉजिक का आपका जनरल मेंटल एबिलिटी में है. इसके स्टार्ट करने से पहले फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल इट्स अ ह्यूज रिक्वेस्ट कि अगर आप हमारे चैनल फर्स्ट टाइम देख रहे हो, अभी तक आपने हमारे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया है, इट्स अ ह्यूज रिक्वेस्ट कि प्लीज़ हमारे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करो, सो दैट हम जो भी वीडियोस डालें वो आपके पास सबसे पहले पहुँचे. एंड सेकेंडली, अगर आपको हमारा वीडियो अच्छा लगे तो प्लीज़ हमारे वीडियो को लाइक, शेयर और सब्सक्राइब करो, सो दैट ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा लोग के पास वीडियो पहुँचे, ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा लोग इसका यूटिलाइजेशन भी कर सकें. स्टार्टिंग विद द 58th क्वेश्चन, क्योंकि 57th क्वेश्चन हम ऑलरेडी डिस्कस कर चुके हैं लास्ट क्लास 155 क्लास में. अगर आपने नहीं देखा है, प्लेलिस्ट से जाके गो थ्रू करो. द स्टेटमेंट इज ऑल कीज आर लॉक्स, या बोला गया है कि सारे कीज जो है वो लॉक्स है, और ऑल लॉक्स आर स्क्रूज. All screws are keys and some locks are keys. This was the conclusion. That two conclusion has been given here. This has been asked in the bank PO question paper. The statement is all keys are logs and all logs are screws. And the conclusion one is all screws are keys. And the second conclusion we have some logs are keys. According to that, if I'm talking about the term screws is distributed in the conclusion one without being distributed in any of the premises here. The first cannot follow and the condition second cannot follow as it contains the middle term. So here we'll go with option D, and that is option D will be the right answer for this question here. Now we'll move ahead, because as I told you, this has been asked in the bank PO question paper, so that is also an important paper respect to the competition wise. If I'm talking about the 59th question of the session, the statement we have been that all poets are readers. सारे poets जो आपके हैं वो readers हैं. No readers is a wise. कोई भी reader wise नहीं है. Conclusion one is no poet is wise. कोई poet wise नहीं है. Second conclusion we have all readers are poets. सारे जो जितने भी readers हैं वो poets हैं. With regard of that, if I'm talking about, so here since one premises is negative and the conclusion must be negative, so only the conclusion first will be the follow, and for that regard of this we will go ahead with option A, and that is with option A will be the right answer for this question here. Moving ahead with another question, and that is your question number 60th question of the session. The question we have is the statement here. Statement is some kites are horses and all horses are dogs. And the conclusion what we have given here is all dogs are horses and some dogs are horses here. With the conclusion, the statement with the help of these two. So if I'm talking about here with regard of this, so we'll go ahead and I will just see that the statement में दिया है that some kites are horses and all horses are dogs, and the conclusion one, then all dogs are horses and some dogs are horses. So none of the conclusion follows the both the contain at the middle term. So here with respect to that, we will go with option D, and that is option D will be the right answer for this question here. Moving ahead with another question, that is the 61st question of the session. The statement we have been given here, some calendars are sticks, no sticks is flower. Conclusion one is some calendars are flowers and no calendar is flowers. So here this has been asked in the bank PO question paper, and that is also an important paper respect to the competition wise. Gone through with the statement is some कैलेंडर्स आर स्टिक, कुछ कैलेंडर्स आपके हैं जो स्टिक्स है, कुछ और कोई भी ऐसी स्टिक नहीं है जो कि फ्लावर है। कंक्लूजन में दिया है कि कुछ कैलेंडर्स जो है वो फ्लावर्स है और कुछ कैलेंडर्स जो है आपके कोई भी कैलेंडर जो है वो फ्लावर नहीं है। With regard of this, if I'm talking about, so here since one premises is particular, the conclusion must be particular here. So the second cannot follow, and since one premises is negative, the conclusion must be negative. So first cannot be followed. So यहाँ पे ना ही second follow होगा and ना ही first follow होगा. तो we'll go with option D will be the right answer for this question here. Now moving ahead with another question, and that is your question number 62th question of the session. The question we have, the statement we have, statement is most crops are machine and some machines are fools. Conclusion, first we have some fools are machines, and second some crops are fools. With regard to that, if I'm talking about here, so here since both the premises are particular on the conclusion, so no conclusion will be followed, and with regard of no conclusion will be followed, so we'll go with option D will be the right answer for this question here. Moving ahead with another question, and that is the question number 63rd question of the session here. The statement we have been given is some flies are ants and all insects are ants. Conclusion one is all flies are ants, and second conclusion is some ants are insects here. With regard of that, if I'm talking about, so here with the conclusion that what we have given here, so in the both the premises we can see that since the middle term is not distributed even once in the premises, so no conclusion will be followed here. So we'll here also we'll go with option D will be the right answer for the question here. Okay, now moving ahead with another question, and that is your question number that what we have to discuss is your 64th question of the session, and that is also an important question in respect to the competition wise that we have to discuss, and that is also plays an important role as well. 64th question of the session we have here is 60. The statement we have been given is some stones are cups and some cups are black here, and here with respect to this statements we have given some stones are cups and some cups are black, and the conclusion has been given that some blacks are not cups and some cups are stone. With regard of this, if I'm talking about, since both the premises are particular, so no conclusion will be followed here, and that's so that we will go with the option D will be the right answer for this question here. So जिन्होंने हमारा लास्ट क्लास देखा होगा उनको पता है कि मैंने ऑप्शन ए, ऑप्शन बी और ऑप्शन सी एंड ऑप्शन डी हमने बताया था, तो उसके रिगार्ड पे ही हम ऑप्शन डी एंड ऑप्शन सी को मार्क आउट कर रहे हैं. सो यू कैन जस्ट गॉन थ्रू विद दैट अगर आपने नहीं किया है, अभी तक नहीं किया है तो. 65th question of the session here, the statement has been given as all goats are wolves and some wolves are tiger. The conclusion what they had given you, some goats are tigers and tiger which are wolves are not goats. तो basically the statement को देखते हुए आपको conclusion को go through करना है, and according to the conclusion what it is that since the middle term is not distributed even once in the premises, so no conclusion will be follows here. So for that sake we have an option D will be the right answer for this question as well. Moving ahead with another question, and that is your question number that is your 66th question of the session, and the statement what they had given you here, the statement is some phones are watches and all watches are guns. Conclusion is all guns are watches and some guns are phones here. So according to the statement that is some phones, कुछ phones आप कैसे हैं जो कि watches हैं और सारे ही watches आपके guns हैं, और सारी की सारी गन्स जो आपकी हैं वो वॉचेस हैं और कुछ गन्स जो है वो आपके फ़ोन्स हैं. इस क्वेश्चन की अगर हम बात करते हैं तो ये बैंक पीओ के क्वेश्चन पेपर में पूछा गया, दैट इज ऑल्सो एन इंपॉर्टेंट पेपर रिस्पेक्ट टू द कॉम्पिटिशन वाइज इफ आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट हियर. सो विद रिगार्ड ऑफ दिस इफ आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट, so since one premises is particular and then conclusion must be particular here, so only the conclusion a second will be followed here, and for that second conclusion if that is followed, and that for that sake we have an option B will be the right answer for this question here. Moving ahead with 67th question of the session, and that is also an important paper respect to the competition wise. The 67th question we have is the statement has been given. So here we'll go with 67th question of the session here, and that is the statement that as I told you that all teachers are good, सारे teachers good हैं, and some women are teachers, तो कुछ women हैं जो teachers हैं. कंक्लूजन ये है ऑल गुड टीचर्स आर वुमेन, सारे जितने भी गुड टीचर्स है वो सारे के सारे वुमेन है, और सम वुमेन्स आर गुड, कुछ वुमेन्स जो है वो गुड है. दीज वर द कंक्लूजन दे हैड गिवन यू हियर. विद रिगार्ड ऑफ दैट इफ आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट, सो विद द कंक्लूजन सिंस वन premises is particular and the conclusion must be particular, and only the conclusion second will be follow here, and for that sake the second conclusion will be follow, and for that sake we will go with option B will be the right answer for this question here as well. Moving ahead with 68th question of the session, and the statement what they had given you is all roads are poles, सारे roads आपके poles है, no pole is a house, कोई भी pole आपका house नहीं है. Conclusion one is given, some roads are houses and some houses are poles. According to that, अगर मैं बात करती हूँ with reference to the conclusion as well as the statement here, where since one premises is negative and the conclusion must be negative, so neither the conclusion here that neither the conclusion follows here. So with no conclusion will be followed, so according to that we will have an option D will be the right answer for this question here. Moving ahead with another question, and that is the question number 69th question of the session here. The statement has been given. The statement is some parties some pastries are toffee, कुछ pastries आपकी हैं जो toffees हैं, some all toffees are chocolate, जितनी भी toffees हैं वो सब chocolates हैं. Conclusion what they had given you, some chocolates are toffees, कुछ chocolates ऐसी हैं जो कि toffees है, and some toffees are not pastries, कुछ toffees जो है वो pastries नहीं है. इस क्वेश्चन की अगर हम बात करते हैं तो दिस हैज बीन आस्क्ड इन द वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पेपर, दैट इज RBI रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया का क्वेश्चन पेपर में पूछा गया, दैट इज ऑल्सो एन इंपॉर्टेंट वन हियर. सो यू हैव टू गॉन थ्रू विद दैट ऑल्सो, एंड दैट इज ऑल्सो एन इंपॉर्टेंट. एंड जो भी उनकी प्रिपेयर कर रहे हैं उनके लिए प्रिपेयर कर रहे हैं तो प्लीज यू कैन गॉन थ्रू विद दिस. So here the neither the conclusion one and nor the conclusion second will be follow, as both the contain the middle term. So we'll go with option here, that will be the option D will be the right answer for this question here. Now we'll move with another question, and that is the question number 70th question of the session. So here we'll go with 70th question of the session, that the statement we have is, the statement is some chairs are stools and table is a chair here. So with regard of that, the statement is some chairs are stools and table is a chair, and the conclusion what they had given you, some stools are chairs and table is not a stool. In regard of that, if I'm talking about, so here the first premises is a first type proposition, so that the middle term chairs forming the subject is not distributed, and that the second premises is an A type proposition. So the middle term assures that forming the predicate is not distributed, and since the middle term is not distributed even once, so no conclusion will be follow here, and for that sake we have an option D will be the right answer for this question. Moving ahead with 71th question of the session, the statement we have is all tigers are ships, and here some ships are cupboard. In the conclusion one that they had given you, that some tigers are cupboards and some cupboards are tiger. In regard of this, if I'm talking about, where you have to go through with the statement as well as the conclusion with, so here since the middle term is not distributed even once in the premises, so no conclusion will be follow here also, and so for that sake we have an option D will be the right answer for this question here. Moving ahead with another question, and that is the question number 72th question of the session here, that what we have to discuss is your statement, and that is some vegetables are fruits, कुछ vegetables आपके fruits हैं, so no fruit is a black, कोई भी fruit black नहीं है. Some fruits are vegetables, कुछ fruits आपके vegetables हैं, no fruit is black, कोई fruit black नहीं है. So no fruit is black is also there, no fruit is black is also there. This has been asked in the bank paper question paper, that is also an important paper respect to the competition wise I'm talking about. So since one premises is particular, the conclusion must be particular, so the second cannot be followed, and where we can say that second will be not followed, and as since one person premises is negative, the conclusion must be negative, so first also cannot be followed. So with regard of that, we'll go with option D will be the right answer for this question here as well, and that will be the right answer for that sake. Moving ahead with 73rd question of the session, the statement we have is some aeroplanes are living being and some non-living beings are ghost. कुछ airplanes आपके हैं जो living being हैं और कुछ non-living being जो है वो आपके ghost हैं. Conclusion was that the first conclusion is some aeroplanes are ghost, कुछ aeroplane ghost हैं, या some aeroplanes are not ghost, कुछ aeroplane ghost नहीं है. With regard of that, if I'm talking about here, In reference to this, so we can say that where since both the premises are particular, so no conclusion will be follow here, and so for that sake we have an option D will be the right answer for this question here. Moving ahead with another question, and that is your question number 74th question of the session. The statement we have is all dresses are shoes, no shoes is brown. Conclusion one is no dresses are brown, and second conclusion is some shoes are dresses here. In regard of this, if I'm talking about, so here with reference to this question, since one premises is negative and the conclusion must be negative, so only the conclusion first will be follow for that sake here, and for that sake we have an option A will be the right answer for this question. Moving ahead with another question, and that is your question number 75 question of the session, and that we have statement is some boys are men, no man is black. Conclusion one is some boys are not black and some men are boys. This has been asked in the bank PO question paper, and that is also an important one here. With regard of that, if I'm talking about, since one premises is negative and the conclusion must be negative, so the second does not follow, and only the what will be follow is your first one will follow, and for that sake we have an option A will be the right answer for this question here. Moving ahead with another question, and that is the question number 76th question of the session here. 76th of the session here, the statement is all stones are diamonds and some diamonds are pearls. Conclusion one is some pearls are stones and all diamonds are pearl. According to that, if I'm talking about, so here with that conclusion, if I'm talking about, so here that since the middle term is not distributed even once in the premises, so no conclusion will be followed, and for that sake we will go with option D will be the right answer for this question here. Moving ahead with 77 question of the session, the statement we have is some parrots are crows and no crows is green. Conclusion one is no parrots is green and no crows is white. And regard of this, if I'm talking about, so here since one premises is particular, the conclusion must be particular, so neither one and not the second will be follow. First भी नहीं follow कर रहा, second भी नहीं follow करेगा, and for that sake we have an option D will be the right answer for this question here. Moving ahead with another question, and that what we have to do is, and what we have to follow. Okay, with regard of the statement मैं बात करती हूँ. Okay, so according to that we have to see whatever the conditions has been followed or not, and according to that, so here the 78th question of the session, that all cows are Rambha and some buffaloes are Rambha, and the conclusion one will be the all Rambhas are not crows, and second conclusion is some Rambhas are not buffaloes. In regard of that, since the middle term is not distributed even once in a premises, and so no conclusion will be followed, and for that sake we have an option D will be the right answer for this question here. Moving ahead with the 79th question of the session, and the question we have is, in the following questions select the alternative in which the third statement is implies by the first two statement. With regard of that, this is the 80th question of the session. The options we have is all elephants are wild, all lions are wild, so all the lions are elephant. बोला गया हर जो elephant है, सारे ही elephants जो आपके हैं वो wild है, सारे lions भी आपके wild है, तो बोला गया कि all lions are elephants. B option है all roads are boxes and all foxes are roads, so all boxes are foxes. And the C option is all mangoes are red, some apples are mangoes, so all apples are red. The D conclusion is all XYZ can run and all ABC are XYZ, so all ABCD can run, ABC can run. For with respect to that, we have an option D will be the right answer, that all XYZ can run and all ABC are XYZ, already they had told you, so ABC can also run with regard of this. Now moving ahead with another question, and that is your question number 81st question of the session, and the question we have is all dogs are mad, all sick person are mad, and so all the sick persons are dog. The option is all oranges are black, all figs are oranges, so all figs are black. C option is all windows are dogs, some doors are dogs, and all windows are doors. The D option, no man can fly, no file can fly, and so all men are kites. With regard of that, here we will go with option B will be the right answer, that is all oranges are black, all figs are oranges, and so all figs are black here. With regard of that, we'll move ahead with another question, and that is your question number 82th question of the session here. 82th question of the session is, in each of the following question, two statements P and Q are given. They may look factually absurd. You have to ignore this absurdly and concentrate only upon the logic involved in each of the statement. Mark your answer here. As so other options, what they had given you, they are the four options, and according to that the condition what they had told you, you have to answer accordingly. For that sake, if both P and Q are true, अगर P और Q दोनों ही true आपको लगते हैं, you will go with option A. If P and Q are false, अगर दोनों ही आपको false लगता है या doubtful लगते हैं, तो फिर आप B कर जा सकते हो. If P is true and Q is false, P true लगता है, Q false लगता है doubtedly, तो आप C जा सकते हो. एंड अगर P आपको false लगता है doubtedly और Q true लगता है, तो आप D जा सकते हो. These were the options here. So we'll go with option 83rd question of the session here. The 83rd question of the session we have is, P is jackals live in the forest, cities are in forest, and therefore the jackals live in the cities. जैकाल फॉरेस्ट में रहते हैं और जो सिटीज़ है उन्हें हम फॉरेस्ट कह रहे हैं, तो आप जैकाल्स क्या सिटीज़ में रह रहे हैं. ऑप्शन क्यू वाला जो आपका है, दैट इज सम टेबल्स आर ग्रास and all stools are grass, so therefore all tables are stools. So here for that sake we will go with option B, because if P and Q both are false doubtedly, so we'll go with P option here. Moving ahead with another question, and that is your question number 84th question of the session here. The P we have is, Cubs plays chess. Chess is a difficult game, therefore the Cubs plays a different game here. In regard of that, Q Arena is a girl, all girl are timid, therefore the Arena is timid here. So with respect to that question, we will go ahead with option A, and that is the option A will be if both P and Q are true. Here both the P and Q are true statements here. Moving ahead with another question, and that is your question number 85th question of the session. The P we have is, some musicians are not rich and all a musician can polite, and therefore not all polite persons are rich. Q we have is, all musicians are rich, no rich person is polite, and so therefore the musician are not polite. In reference to this, if I'm talking about, so that we will go with option A, because P and Q both the statements are true here. The 86th question of the session that we have is, some mangoes are apples and all grapes are mangoes, so therefore all apples are grapes. And the Q is, some mangoes are apples and all apples are grape, and then therefore the some mangoes are grapes. And according to this, I will go with option D, and that will be the D option will be the right answer for this question here. Moving ahead with the 87th question and the last question of the session, that is P we have as, all fish can fly, some fish are birds, all birds are naughty, and therefore some naughty can fly. So and the Q is, some fishes are birds and all birds are not naughty, and therefore all of all the fishes are that naughty. So we can say that for this we'll go with option C, and that is option C will be the right answer for this question here as well. That is your, if P is true and the Q is false or doubtful. And for that case we can say that if P is false and doubtfully, or if Q is true, then that will be the further D option here. Now we'll end up this session. This is of this is not that long classes, but yes, we will continue with the next classes, that we'll cover up this topic as well, the logic one. But before that, first of all, अगर आप हमारे चैनल फर्स्ट टाइम देख रहे हो, अभी तक आपने हमारे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया है, इट्स अ ह्यूज रिक्वेस्ट कि आप हमारे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करो, सो दैट हम जो भी वीडियोस डालें वो आपके पास सबसे पहले पहुँचे. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल आई विल वांट टू इन्फॉर्म यू दैट वर्बल रीजनिंग हमने ऑलरेडी, रीजनिंग जो है दो पार्ट्स में डिवाइडेड है, वर्बल रीजनिंग एंड नॉन वर्बल रीजनिंग. वर्बल रीजनिंग जो है उसमें जनरल मेंटल एबिलिटी एंड लॉजिक रीजनिंग पार्ट आपका है. जनरल मेंटल एबिलिटी की अगर हम बात करते हैं तो उसमें एनालॉजी, क्लासिफिकेशन, सीरीज कॉम्प्लीशन, कोडिंग, डिकोडिंग, ब्लड रिलेशन, पजल टेस्ट, सीक्वेंशियल आउटपुट ट्रेसिंग, डायरेक्शन सेंस टेस्ट, लॉजिकल वेन डायग्राम, अल्फाबेट टेस्ट, नंबर रैंकिंग एंड टाइम सीक्वेंस टेस्ट, mathematical operation, logical sequence of words, arithmetic reasoning, inserting the missing character, data sufficiency, decision making, assertions and reasons, situation reaction test, and verification of the truth of the statement, that what we have to discuss here. In the logic reasoning, that logic, statement, argument, statement, assumption, statement, course of action, statement, conclusion, deriving conclusion from the passages, theme detection, question statement, and of course the miscellaneous logical puzzle that we have to discuss here. After that, if I'm talking about, so we'll discuss the second part, that is your part second, that is of non-verbal reasoning, where we have to discuss series, analogy, classification, analytical reasoning, mirror image, water image, embedded figure, completions of incomplete pattern, figure matrix, paper holding, paper cutting, rule detection, grouping of identical figures, cubes and dice, start situation, constructions of squares and triangles, figure formation analysis, and paper practice question paper that we have to discuss in all. So first of all, do like, share and subscribe to our channel. We'll go ahead and we move and continue with 88th question of the session for this logic here. And yes, of course you will get all the information regarding this. Please stay tuned with us, and please like, share and subscribe our channel. Thank you.